back to my channel. Thanks so much for coming back. So today I am going to do something a little bit different besides my usual cleaning videos. My husband and I have decided, or more so I decided and he kind of joined me in, that we want to pay off all of our consumer credit card debt. So that's like any credit cards, any loans, lines of credit, anything like that. So I got this book, the Ramsey-Total Money Makeover. I got it off Amazon. I want to say it was like $12.99 or something. I'll link it down below. And not a long book at all. And so I guess this is just his story or his tips or advice of how he has helped other people to get out of debt and to do a total money makeover in their household. So for us, we are gonna do this. I guess technically we're not following the plan, because I think Dave Ramsey says if you're not following it to the T, that you're not following it. But my thing is with this, like some of the things I wasn't agreeable with, and then some things, like a lot of the people in the book what I've been reading, like they were at rock bottom, like they had to get out of debt, like they were on the brink of foreclosure or bankruptcy or, you know, extreme situations like that. And that's not the situation that my husband and I are in right now. Although we do want to pay off our debt, we also do want to live a life a little bit. So I'm trying to have a little balance of it. So according to Dave Ramsey, he has this 7 baby steps. So the first baby step is you want to get $1,000 emergency fund. So for my husband and I, we already had that. So I guess we technically skipped that step. But if you don't, that's the first thing you want to do. You want to make sure you get that $1,000. However, you save it up, whether it be $200 every month or however you want to divvy it up with you and your spouse. You want to have that $1,000 emergency fund. The second baby step is going to be to pay off all debt using the debt snowball. So just briefly, the debt snowball is where you list your expenses from, well, there are 2 options. The debt snowball, so you're snowballing down, where you list your total balances from smallest to highest. And then I'll link mine up here, put a picture or here of what our debt snowball looks like. And this is just for our consumer debt. So again, just credit cards, loans, lines of credit. I have not included our mortgage. I have not included my student loans. Thankfully, my husband doesn't have student loans. So those 2 things I haven't included in this, and I also have not included our cars. What we decided to do, we're going to pay off all the consumer credit first, and then we're going to tackle my husband's car, because he has a little bit less to pay on his, and then we'll do my car, and then we'll go into my student loans, and then my mortgage, our mortgage, of course. But I mean, I don't know if our personal goal is for us to pay off our mortgage within 5 years. Like, that's not necessarily what we're trying to do. We're more so focusing on the consumer credit part of it. So, and like the cars and my student loans. So so again, back to what I was saying, the baby step 2, the debt snowball, you are organizing your lowest to highest balance, or you could do the debt avalanche, where you are organizing the highest interest or percentage rate to the lowest interest or percentage rate, regardless of what the balance is. What we decided to do was the debt snowball, because for us personally, it helps give us gratification, even if it was just like a Target credit card that had $50 on it. It helps us to see, oh, we're checking off that box, that's something that's being done. So that's what we decided to do, the debt snowball. And actually, since we started, we seriously started this in maybe like the last week of December, and we've already paid off the first 5 things on our debt snowball. Given, I think the first thing was like $50 and then another thing was $70. But the most recent 3 things, I want to say the balances were $385. One was 6 something. I'll link it up here so you can actually see, but we have actually been able to pay off those first few things, which is a little bit of a dent on our list. So it kind of keeps you motivated and keeps you pushing forward. So that's why I like the debt snowball for us. But I know some people do the debt avalanche, so I guess it's just a personal preference of what you want to do. The next Baby step 3 is 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings. So Dave Ramsey says you should have 3 to 6 months of your expenses saved up, just in case, for example, someone gets sick, someone gets laid off, someone loses their job, someone gets fired. You never know what could possibly happen, and you want to plan for a rainy day. And I'm just looking down because I made some notes in the book. With this, you want to have, he says you want to have the 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, and the length depends on the risk. So how I interpreted that as, and what reading the book, what it actually means, what he is saying is it's kind of based off what your expenses are monthly and what you're used to bringing in. So if your monthly expenses are only equaling $2,000 a month, maybe go on that lower end of that 3 months. But now if you have a large amount of expenses in the normal day-to-day to run your household and monthly bills and grocery and things like that is a little on the higher side, he says to save on that higher side of 6 months. But I guess that's a personal decision and preference for what you and your spouse want to do. My husband and I haven't gotten to that part of the process yet. We do have a little bit of like besides our emergency fund of like savings like that saved up, but we would need to figure out exactly if we wanted to do the 3 months or the 6 months. But I mean, I guess the more the better, but we haven't gotten to that part yet, so we'll see when we get there. And then the next step is going to be to invest 15% of your household income into Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement. So for my husband and I personally, we both have 401ks. I think currently I'm contributing 5% to mine. I think he's contributing 5%, and then our company matches a certain percentage. And then my husband with his job also has a retirement account, which is a separate account from his 401k, where they take a portion of his checkout and also they contribute to that as well. So I don't think we're quite at 15%. I am going to look into Roth IRAs for us. I just haven't gotten a chance to do that, but that is something we're planning. But for right now, we're doing about 10% of our household income, but Dave Ramsey says you do want to get to 15%, which again is baby step 4. Technically, we're supposed to be just doing our debt snowball right now, but again, for me personally, some things I'm tweaking. According to Dave Ramsey in the book, you should stop contributing to your 401k in retirement. I don't agree with that. It's already coming out of my check. It's out of sight, out of mind. I don't see it anyway. So my husband and I are going to continue to contribute to our retirement plans. But again, some people stop it, some people don't. Again, I think it's a personal preference. And also, going back to the emergency savings funds, Dave Ramsey says if for any reason you have to pull from your emergency savings funds, so that means that you have a true emergency. You have to define emergency with your spouse. Going to the store to get some clothes, to go out, not an emergency. So for example, flat tire. For example, your air or heater goes out in your house. For example, you need a new car part in your car, new tire. These are emergencies. You would want to stop the debt snowball completely, replenish your $1,000 emergency savings fund, and then go back into your debt snowball, which makes sense, I think. And also another thing for our husband that we're doing, which is also not in the Dave Ramsey plan, I've made like a sheet for our budget, and I write it down monthly, and I go through it every week because my husband gets paid weekly. I get paid every 2 weeks, so I kind of just keep a balance of everything that's come out of our account so far. What I'm doing is we're still putting money into our emergency fund or savings, whatever you want to call it. I've allocated a certain amount that will go into our savings each month, and then I've also allocated a certain amount for me and my husband each to go in our own personal checking accounts, because again, for us personally, we are not we do want to pay off our debt, but we do also want to live our life. I have to get my hair done. I prefer to get my nails done. I prefer other things that, we're not excessively spending. We haven't really been going out to eat a lot. I've budgeted groceries in, so we're not really doing that. I've been cooking more. My husband tries to take his lunches. So not excessively spending, but still understanding that we are still trying to live a life. Like we're actually going out of town in a few weeks to visit one of my best friends and her baby. So things like that. I do understand his thought process. It's a great plan, but for us personally, again, I'm tweaking it a little bit. So we are each putting a certain amount into our individual checkings accounts, so we can use that to spend on whatever for ourselves. So like my husband just bought LSU just won, so he just bought like, I guess, a hoodie or whatever. He's always buying stuff on Amazon, but that'll come out of his money and not out of our big pot of money. So that's kind of something else that we're tweaking. And the next step after that, step 5, is going to be college funding for children. We don't have children currently. We do hope and are believing that we will have children in the future. So that is something to think about, having a college savings for your children. That is so important, especially with the rising costs of college. And I myself am still paying student loans. I was a twin. I have an identical twin, so it was double the cost for us, for my parents. So that is something that we do definitely want to do when our children are born. We want to kind of start putting something into like a college savings fund or college account for them, which will be helpful when they do actually start and it is that age to go to college. And then step 6, pay off home early. Again, that's kind of like a far off thing for us. I mean, our house is a large amount of money. I completely get it again, but for us personally, I don't think paying off our mortgage is like we have got to do this, like this is it. Like again, we're just focusing on our consumer credit right now. Then after that, we'll do car, student loans, and then once we do get to that baby step 6, I guess it would technically be to pay off our home early, which would be a great thing to do, but that is something again in the far future. Currently our home is on a 30-year fixed, and I do know he says you should do 15-year fixed, so that is something. I was talking to my husband when we do pay off some more stuff and have some more money freed up, that we would possibly maybe refinance or consider doing some type of 15-year fixed mortgage. But again, the mortgage we have now is fine, and we can always just apply additional payments to that. So I guess it just depends on whatever works for you. And then the last step, sorry y'all, my battery died. So the last thing I was on, I think, was the baby step 7, and that is going to be to build wealth and give. So the ultimate goal of all of this is you want to be able to give back. You want to be able to give your tithes to church. So, you know, give back to other people, things like that. So I do tithe on my money to church, my percentage or portion of the income. So I do that. But of course, you know, when you get into a better financial, where you have more dispensable or exposable income, I do of course want to increase my tithing percentage to church, also giving back to others. You know, I do try to donate to things here and there, but like having more set things that I'm contributing to help other people is baby step number 7. This is what my husband and I are working on this year for 2020. So far so good. Again, I'm going to put a picture up of what our debt snowball list looks like. I just went into like a note on my MacBook and just typed in our balances from lowest to highest, and I'm just putting check marks by each thing. When I do our budget, it does take quite a bit of time. We do have the same bills coming out at around the same time each month, so month to month it shouldn't vary. The thing is with our income, it can vary here and there. My husband's job, sometimes he works way like the increased amount of hours than what he usually works, so that's a little bit of an increase. And then with my job as well, we have bonus opportunities. It can depend on mileage, so it's a little bit fluctuating. It fluctuates up more than usual, kind of stays the same, but I just kind of try to average in an average for our budget, so we make sure that we are doing that. But again, so far so good. I think that everyone needs to do what works for them. Again, this book is really helpful. It has some great tips, some great thoughts, great ideas. But for us personally, we won't stop contributing to our retirement. We will continue to contribute to our retirement plans and 401ks. I will continue to put money into our savings because that's just a personal thing for me. I do understand that we have the emergency fund for an absolute emergency, but I also want to continue to grow our savings as well. So that's just what we're doing for ourselves. We are also going to continue to give ourselves money monthly for our individual things. I guess an allowance if you must for things like hair, nails, my eyebrows, waxes. My husband's buying stuff. Like which I guess technically that money can go towards other things, but right now in this season of our life, we're not too like any extreme, like we're about to get kicked out of our house or they're just gonna take our car. Like we're not at that point right now. So I do still want us to be able to enjoy and live our lives with what we do have, but I am being very mindful. Like we used to go out to eat a lot. We're not really going out to eat a lot. I've increased our grocery budget more because I am cooking more at home. So that is something just personally we're doing for ourselves. I think you just have to do whatever works for you, what works for you and your spouse, what works for you and your family. I think that this is a great blueprint or a great outline of how you can kind of set things up. But at the end of the day, this is your money, your accounts, your plan with your husband or your wife. I mean, I just honestly do what works for you. I know I have seen there are people in his book who have done this to a T, paid stuff off in 13 months and 15 months. But from what I'm calculating, if we continue to keep going at it like we're going, my husband and I should be able to pay off all of our consumer credit, I'm hoping, within this year. Because for us, it's not that the money we have the money there, it's just we were spending it on other stuff. So like we went out to eat a lot. I travel because I don't live in the same state as my family, a lot of my family and friends. So I traveled a lot. I feel like I've cut back on traveling. And when I do travel, I try to find like discount airplane tickets, or like I'm traveling at like weird times, like really early or really late, so I can get a discount on my ticket. I've canceled my Postmates subscription. I went through all of my bank accounts to cancel subscriptions. So like Hulu, we watch Hulu, but not really like a lot. And then a lot of the shows that are coming off Hulu, we have TV cable, so we can just download the apps if we needed to on our phone and watch that. So I got rid of Hulu. I have a Cricut machine, like the machine that cuts out the fonts and stuff. I haven't been using that. I was paying a $15 subscription for that. My husband and I switched from the individual Apple Music plan to the family plan, so I think that saves about $5. I had a Brazilian wax package with European Wax Center that I decided not to go through, but I just actually found on Groupon yesterday. There is a waxing place near where I live that had a Groupon where you could get 2 waxes for $31, and that's less than what 1 wax costs at European Wax Center. So just trying to save in that area. Just thinking of different areas and different things I can cut back is what we are trying to do. Again, not going out to eat. I love Starbucks, but I have 2 coffee machines. I have a Keurig and I have an espresso, so I've been using those. And then what I've been doing is, with the portion of my money that I have in my individual account, I'll take like $20 and put it on my Starbucks card, and then use that for 2 weeks, and once it's gone, and I'm not replenishing it. So just things like that. I went through my account, got rid of any unnecessary subscriptions. I think on our TV cable bill, we use AT&T U-verse. They were charging us for HBO and Stars or Cinemax or something, and it was like $60, and I told my husband to get rid of both of those, so that dropped our bill by $60. The next thing, I'm gonna call T-Mobile. Our cell phone bill is a little high, I think, although we do have 3 phones on our cell phone bill. I do still think it's a little high, so I'm gonna see if we can try to cut down on that as well. So just little things like that. I'm trying to, for groceries, look at more sales. So I downloaded this app called Flipp, F-L-I-P-P, that my best friend told me about, and it compares sales to different stores in your area. So you can just search like what you need. Like if you need, like I needed Cascade dishwasher pods, so I searched that and it'll tell you sales from different stores. We have a BJ's, like the Sam's Club or Costco membership, so like I'm buying bulk items, so like tissue, soap, deodorant. My best friend was telling me she is a great grocery shopper, so I've been trying to get tips from her. I'm not the best grocery shopper, but I'm trying to get better. So she was telling me, like, you know, bulk items, stuff like that, at one time it is a little bit more, but it's lasting over a period of time. Whereas like the Cascade dishwasher pods, for example, 21 count is $6.99 at Target, but at BJ's 92 count is $14.99. So in the moment I'm paying an additional however much more, $9 or $10, but it's gonna last me longer. Whereas with the smaller pack I got from Target, I would have had to probably go to the store 3 or 4 times. So just stuff like that. I'm trying to be more mindful of subscriptions, of things that are unnecessary that you really don't need to pay for. Being aware of what you are purchasing. I know that the cash envelope system is another thing Dave Ramsey suggests, where you set aside different money for different things. So like you can have a cash envelope for your groceries, cash envelope for your mortgage, cash envelope for this. We're not doing the cash envelope system. It does sound like a good idea though. I personally don't like having cash because I feel like I spend it more, but looking at the thought process of it, it's like that's what you have to spend in this, and once it's done, it's done. I feel like when you have a debit card, you just swipe away, swipe away, swipe away, and I have a habit of not looking at my bank account. I'm trying to be more mindful of that, but I do have a habit of not looking at all at our bank account, but like maybe once a week. So I'm gonna try to be more aware of that and what I am actually spending, and keep running totals of things. So again, this is just what we're doing for this year to see how it goes, and then I am going to show y'all what we've paid off so far. Okay, so I've added everything up. For my Victoria's Secret card, there was a $50 balance. Target, my husband's Target, we just recently bought a new bed frame. We got a new bed frame and mattress for our bedroom, and then like a gym thing that's out in the garage. It's like weights and a weight bench. So total so far, just since we started in the last of December, we have paid off $1,555 of our consumer credit card debt. Again, those first 2 balances aren't really that much, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of like instant gratification of, okay, I paid this off, let me go to the next thing. This is, and a lot of this stuff, we really don't even need it. I don't know why we have so many credit cards. I don't know why we have so many lines of credit. It's really ridiculous. But just going forward, being aware, for me and my husband personally, we're going to have one credit card, our joint credit card together, and then we just won't use any of our other credit cards, and we may possibly close those. I have to do more research on that. I don't know if closing credit cards will decrease your credit score. I know it would affect your like the ratio of like your open credit card utilization and things like that. I have to figure that out. But we've decided so far for ourselves, we're going to keep one of our credit cards open, not using the other credit cards, and then we just need to use the actual cash that we have to make any other purchases. Sometimes though, like for furniture credit cards at least, they have good deals. So like 12 months no interest or 6 months no interest, like stuff like that where it has no interest and you can pay it off pretty quickly. I don't think those are that bad, but I guess to get out of the habit of just always having to put stuff on a credit card when you had the money but you just feel like you need to put it on a credit card, I guess we kind of have to retrain ourselves and get out of that mindset of it. So this is what we've done so far. The next thing we're tackling is our mattress. We got a purple mattress a little bit ago. We had to tackle that balance and then go down to the next thing. So I will keep y'all updated on this journey. If y'all have any questions, any thoughts, just leave it down in the comment section. Y'all be sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, and also hit that red subscribe button if y'all hadn't. And I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.